President Trump is going to prefer, as he likes to say, one big, beautiful bill. He can put it all together, one big up or down vote, which can save the country, quite literally, because there are so many elements to it.
So are you expecting to raise or eliminate the debt ceiling as part of that big bill?
I think we're going to have to do it in that bill. You do it in reconciliation. You can do it just with the Republican Party. So we're targeting a vote in the House, it may be in the first week of April.
So you're talking about the first 100 days?
In a worst-case scenario, Memorial Day.
So he's talking about getting this bill on the president's desk by the end of April, and at the worst-case scenario, by Memorial Day. That was the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, in his first interview since getting reelected on Friday night, joining me yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures on the Trump agenda. President-elect Trump then posted on Truth Social, urging Republicans to unite and send one powerful bill to his desk as soon as possible. That bill would include border security. They're talking about $100 billion to pay for deportations and securing the border. Energy policy, meaning permitting, tax extensions, and, of course, the new tax items that President Trump talked about on the campaign trail, like no tax on tips and no tax on Social Security, for priorities for this bill, as well as raising or eliminating the debt ceiling. Now, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham has been working on two plans as opposed to one plan, prioritizing the border first and then taxes later on in the year. He says this idea of doing one plan is worrying him. He's not sure if it can get done. Watch this.
If we don't put border first and get it done, it's going to be a nightmare for our national security. To the tax cut wing of the party, I am with you, but if you hold border security hostage to get tax cuts, you're playing Russian roulette with our national security. I'm saying that as we negotiate tax cuts, there are tax-cutting people, and I'm one of them, that won't vote for border until they get all their taxes. I'm not a big fan of the SALT deduction. I live in South Carolina where we have low taxes. Why should people in South Carolina subsidize California and New York?
Joining me now is Texas Congressman Michael Cloud, a member of the House Oversight and Appropriations Committees. Congressman, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know you're dealing with all of this in terms of appropriations work. Your thoughts on where this is going? Are the New York and California lawmakers holding you all hostage so that you ensure the SALT deduction gets a lifted cap?
Well, certainly as a member from Texas, you know, we don't need it. We don't have an income tax. Our government's funded through other ways, and so you're going to have a lot of people concerned about that. But really, that's what this process is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be a deliberative process where we're all bringing and representing our district. Ultimately, we're going to have to come behind a plan and make sure we get the win for the American people. What's going to be really important throughout this year is that we all keep in mind the America First principle, and that's true for us thinking about what we're delivering for the American people, but it's also important for us to look internally in our conference and remember that it's not about us. Ultimately, it's about what's best for the nation. And we got to look at the end of the year and kind of say we may not get everything we want, but the country's going to be better off if we follow Trump's play call on this.
Well, there's so much riding on this, Congressman. I mean, let's face it. One of the reasons that this market is up as much as it's up since Election Day is because investors are expecting deregulation and lower taxes. Okay, they're expecting that you want to invest in corporations because they're going to see lots of positive business policies. If you guys can't get these business policies across the finish line, then markets are going to sell off. There's going to be a lot of impact here. So the question becomes, are you going to get the tax extensions done or not?
I believe we are. I believe we're all focused on making sure that we get this done. The average family is looking at a tax increase about $1,700 a year, which is almost 2 months of groceries for most families. So we've got to get this done, not to mention, as you mentioned, creating a tax environment where jobs are coming back to the United States.
Right.
And we're getting people back to work, and that innovation engine is working for the American people. All this is important. Certainly, I'm from Texas, so border, I'm looking at that every single day. We need to make sure to get that done, but I also know that nothing's going to stop President Trump from securing the border.
Well, let's talk about this story on tariffs this morning, because I think this is what's one of the reasons that stocks are rallying right now. President Trump's aides reportedly looking at scaling back his tariff plans. The Washington Post is reporting that his team is moving away from imposing universal tariffs on everything imported into the United States and instead placing tariffs only on certain sectors considered critical to national or economic security, Senator. This is a big change if this is actually true. The Post says that they've got 3 sources who said 2 weeks before Trump takes office, his aides are discussing plans to impose import duties on goods, but very targeted goods. Senator, your thoughts, Congressman?
Well, as President Trump talks about a lot, we've had nation after nation after nation taking advantage of the American people and many businesses we have moving overseas. And President Trump is great at creating leverage to get what he knows needs to be done in our country. And so he's used tariffs in the past. I'm sure he'll use them very strategically going forward. What's important to look at this is when you're looking at tariffs, there was also trade policy going on the other side of things. And so it's kind of the tool to get things done and make sure that we're creating, again, an environment where American jobs are coming back to American citizens, and we're seeing us do those essential things. We all went through COVID, and we saw the destruction of supply chains and how devastating it was. We were relying on countries, many of them who are adversaries to us. That's going to be an important tool that we have in the bag, and it's good to see where we're headed in the news that's coming out.
Yeah. No, look, we're trying to understand the agenda. This is going to set the tone for business. It's going to set the tone for the economy, Congressman. I know you've got the election certification happening today. That happens at 1 p.m. Eastern, despite this snowstorm. The government is closed on Thursday for Jimmy Carter's funeral. Can you talk to us about your priorities? First of all, do you expect any activity today on the certification of the election?
Yes, we will join today and we will certify the election. The American people are certainly looking forward to that. As a Texan, even though I'm not really familiar with this white stuff that's all over the ground, I realize the importance of us being here today for this momentous moment to do our job to certify the election. You know, even if the offices are closed and some people won't be showing up as far as staff and across the federal agencies, we've got to show up and do our job.
Mm-hmm. And your priorities on the Oversight Commission, the Oversight Committee, rather, pardon me.
Well, I can tell you DOGE is going to be a big one. We're talking about $2 trillion cutting, we've seen waste, fraud, abuse, corruption. We've got to bring this federal bureaucracy in line. That's probably job number 1 for the Oversight Committee this term.
All right. We'll be watching that for sure. Thank you so much, Congressman. Great to see you this morning. Michael Cloud
Good to see you. God bless
in D.C. All right. We'll be right back.